Have you ever felt like something dark is holding you back? Like there's a weight on your shoulders that you just can't shake off? Well, you're not alone. Many people feel this way, and today, we're going to talk about something that might be the cause: evil spirits. Yes, you heard that right. We're diving into the 7 signs that an evil spirit might be trapping your soul. Now, I know this sounds scary, but don't worry. Knowledge is power, and by the end of this video, you'll be better equipped to spot these signs and take the first steps towards freedom. You might be thinking, evil spirits? Really? That's just stuff from movies, right? But the truth is, this is more common than most people think. It's not always as dramatic as what you see in horror films, but it can be just as damaging to your life and well-being. The good news is, there's hope. By recognizing these signs, you're already on the path to breaking free. Now, let's talk about why this matters so much. Imagine you're trying to climb a mountain, but there's an invisible rope tied around your waist, constantly pulling you back. That's what it's like when an evil spirit is trapping your soul. If you don't recognize what's happening, this spirit's grip might get stronger and stronger. It's like a slow poison that affects every part of your life: your happiness, your relationships, your success, and even your health. Think about it. Have you been feeling stuck lately? Like no matter what you do, you can't move forward in life? Or maybe you've been dealing with a string of bad luck that just doesn't make sense. These could be signs that something darker is at play. And if you ignore these signs, things might get worse. Your life, your happiness, and your spiritual growth are all at risk. But don't panic. Remember, recognizing the problem is the first step to solving it. By learning about these signs, you're already taking action. You're arming yourself with knowledge, and that's a powerful weapon against any dark force. Before we dive into the signs, let's talk about what we mean by evil spirits. Now, I'm not here to debate whether these things exist or not. Different cultures and beliefs have different names for them: demons, negative energies, dark forces. Whatever you want to call them, we're talking about unseen, harmful influences that can affect our lives in very real ways. Think of an evil spirit like a bully you can't see. It doesn't have a body, but it can push you around in your thoughts and feelings. It's not a physical thing, but it can have physical effects on your life. These spirits feed on negative energy, fear, anger, sadness, and doubt. They want to keep you feeling low and stuck because that's how they gain power over you. Now, it's important to understand that recognizing these signs doesn't mean you're possessed or that you've done something wrong. Sometimes, these spirits attach themselves to people who are going through tough times or who are particularly sensitive to spiritual energies. It's not your fault, but it is something you can address. The key thing to remember is this: evil spirits may be powerful, but they're not all powerful. They can influence you, but they can't control you completely. Your own inner strength, your connection to positive spiritual forces, whatever that means to you, and the support of others can all help you break free. As we go through these 7 signs, keep in mind that experiencing 1 or 2 of these doesn't automatically mean an evil spirit is involved. We all have bad days or go through tough times. But if you're consistently experiencing several of these signs, and they're significantly impacting your life, it might be time to consider that something more is going on. Let's talk about the first big sign that an evil spirit might be trapping your soul: constant negative thoughts. We all have negative thoughts sometimes. It's part of being human. But when an evil spirit is at work, these thoughts become more than just occasional bad moods. They turn into a constant, overwhelming flood that you can't seem to escape. Imagine your mind as a beautiful garden. Normally, you might have a few weeds here and there. Those are your usual negative thoughts. But when an evil spirit is involved, it's like someone came in overnight and planted a whole field of thorny, poisonous plants. Suddenly, everywhere you look, all you see are these harmful thoughts crowding out everything else. What do these thoughts look like? Well, they often follow patterns. You might find yourself constantly thinking, "I'm not good enough." No matter what you do, no matter what you achieve, there's always this voice in your head telling you that you're worthless or that you don't deserve good things. Or maybe you're always thinking, "Bad things always happen to me." Even when good things do happen, You can't enjoy them because you're just waiting for something to go wrong. These thoughts aren't just passing clouds in your mind. They stick around, repeating over and over like a broken record. You might wake up in the morning, and before you even get out of bed, these negative thoughts are already swirling in your head. They follow you throughout the day, coloring everything you do and experience in shades of gray and black. The tricky thing about these thoughts is that they often disguise themselves as your own voice. You might think, oh, this is just me being realistic, or I'm just preparing for the worst. But here's the thing. Constant negativity isn't realism. It's a distorted view of the world, and it's exactly what an evil spirit wants you to believe. These negative thoughts don't just stay in your head, either. They start to affect your behavior and your life. You might start avoiding challenges because you're convinced you'll fail. You might push away friends and loved ones because you believe you don't deserve their love or that they'll hurt you eventually. You might give up on your dreams because that voice keeps telling you it's pointless to try. It's like wearing a pair of dark sunglasses all the time. Everything looks gloomy and shadowy, even on the brightest day. And the longer you wear these glasses, the longer you let these negative thoughts dominate, the harder it becomes to remember what things look like without them. But here's the important thing to remember. These thoughts, no matter how convincing they seem, are not the real you. They're like a radio station that an evil spirit has tuned your mind to, playing nothing but sad, scary, and angry songs all day long. The real you, your true self, is still there underneath, even if it feels buried. Recognizing this constant stream of negativity for what it is, an external influence, not your true self, is a huge step. It's like realizing that you've been wearing those dark glasses and that you can take them off. It might not be easy, and the negative thoughts won't disappear overnight, but just knowing that they're not really yours can make a big difference. So, if you find yourself trapped in a cycle of constant negative thoughts, if it feels like your mind is a broken record playing nothing but sad and hurtful messages, take a step back. Ask yourself, is this really me? Or could this be a sign of something else at work? Remember, your thoughts shape your reality. If an evil spirit can control your thoughts, it can control your life. But recognizing this is the first step to taking back control. Now, let's move on to the second sign that an evil spirit might be trapping your soul. Feeling drained all the time. We all have days when we feel tired or low on energy. Maybe you didn't sleep well, or you've been working hard. But when an evil spirit is involved, this feeling of being drained goes way beyond normal tiredness. It's a deep, persistent exhaustion that doesn't go away no matter how much you rest. Think of your energy like a battery. Normally, when you sleep or take a break, your battery recharges. But when an evil spirit is at work, it's like there's a leak in your battery. No matter how much you try to recharge, your energy keeps draining away. You might sleep for 10 hours and still wake up feeling like you haven't slept at all. This isn't just physical tiredness, though that's definitely part of it. It's a total drain on your whole system, body, mind, and spirit. You might find that even simple tasks feel overwhelming. Making breakfast, taking a shower, or answering a text message can feel like climbing a mountain. Things that used to bring you joy now seem like too much effort. Your favorite hobbies? Too tiring. Hanging out with friends? Exhausting just to think about. It's like you're carrying a heavy backpack everywhere you go, but no one else can see it. This invisible weight slows you down, makes everything harder, and leaves you feeling worn out all the time. You might find yourself saying, "I'm tired," so often that it becomes your catchphrase. Your friends and family might start to notice, asking if you're getting enough sleep or if you're feeling okay. But here's the thing. This isn't normal tiredness. Normal tiredness gets better with rest. This kind of exhaustion, it sticks around. It's persistent. It doesn't matter if you take a day off, a week off, or even a long vacation. That feeling of being drained just won't go away. Why does this happen? Well, evil spirits feed on energy. Your energy, to be specific. They're like energy vampires, constantly sucking away your life force. The more energy they drain from you, the stronger they become and the weaker you feel. It's a vicious cycle that can leave you feeling helpless and hopeless. This constant state of exhaustion doesn't just affect your body. It starts to seep into every area of your life. Your work might start to suffer because you can't concentrate or find the motivation to do your best. Your relationships might strain because you don't have the energy to connect with others or to work through conflicts. Even your sense of self can start to erode. You might start to think, maybe I'm just a lazy person, or I guess I can't handle life as well as everyone else. But remember, this isn't you. This overwhelming, persistent exhaustion isn't a character flaw or a sign of weakness. It's a sign that something is draining your energy in a way that goes beyond the normal ups and downs of life. It's important to note that feeling tired all the time can also be a sign of physical health issues like anemia, thyroid problems, or depression. So if you're experiencing this kind of persistent exhaustion, it's always a good idea to check with a doctor. But if medical tests come back normal and you're still feeling drained, it might be time to consider that something spiritual could be at play. Recognizing this constant drain for what it is, a potential sign of an evil spirit's influence, is crucial. It's like realizing that there's a leak in your energy tank. Once you know it's there, you can start to take steps to plug that leak and reclaim your vitality. So, if you find yourself constantly exhausted, if you feel like your energy is being sucked away by an invisible force, take a moment to reflect. Is this just normal tiredness, or could it be something more? Remember, your energy is your life force. If an evil spirit is draining it away, it's draining away your ability to live your life fully. But recognizing this drain is the first step towards refilling your energy and reclaiming your power. Let's move on to the third sign that an evil spirit might be trapping your soul: nightmares or sleep problems. Sleep is supposed to be a time of rest and renewal, a peaceful break from the stresses of the day. But when an evil spirit is at work, your nights can become as draining and disturbing as your days. Think about your sleep as a nightly journey. Normally, it's like taking a smooth, peaceful boat ride across a calm lake. You drift off, travel through the night, and wake up refreshed on the other shore. But when an evil spirit is involved, it's like that calm lake turns into a stormy sea. Your nightly journey becomes rough, scary, and anything but restful. One of the main ways this shows up is through nightmares. Now, everyone has a bad dream now and then, but we're not talking about the occasional scary dream here. We're talking about intense, recurring nightmares that leave you feeling terrified and upset even after you wake up. These aren't your typical "I showed up to school naked" kind of dreams. These nightmares often involve themes of being chased, attacked, or overwhelmed by dark or evil forces. You might find yourself dreaming about shadowy figures that you can't quite see but that fill you with dread. Or you might have dreams where you're trapped, unable to move or speak as something menacing approaches. Some people experience dreams of falling into endless darkness or being swallowed up by something evil. The specific images might be different for everyone, but the feeling is the same: a deep, primal fear that lingers long after you open your eyes. These nightmares don't just stay in your dreams, either. They can affect your whole day. You might wake up feeling shaken and upset, unable to shake off the fear from your dream. This can leave you feeling anxious and on edge all day, dreading the thought of going back to sleep and facing those terrifying images again. But nightmares aren't the only way sleep problems can manifest when an evil spirit is involved. Some people find that they have trouble falling asleep in the first place. You might lie in bed, exhausted but unable to drift off, feeling like there's some unseen presence keeping you awake. Or you might fall asleep easily but wake up in the middle of the night, suddenly alert and uneasy for no apparent reason. Others experience sleep paralysis, a terrifying condition where you wake up unable to move, often with a sense of a malevolent presence in the room. While sleep paralysis can have medical explanations, when it happens frequently and is accompanied by a feeling of evil or dread, it could be a sign of spiritual interference. Some people even start to feel afraid of sleeping. The thought of closing your eyes and becoming vulnerable to whatever might be waiting in your dreams becomes scarier than staying awake. This can lead to a vicious cycle of sleep deprivation, which only makes you more susceptible to negative influences and less able to fight back against them. It's like the evil spirit is trying to invade the most private, vulnerable part of your life, your subconscious mind, while you sleep. By disturbing your sleep, it keeps you off balance, tired, and more susceptible to its influence during your waking hours. Now, it's important to note that sleep problems and nightmares can have many causes. Stress, anxiety, certain medications, or eating spicy foods before bed can all lead to disturbed sleep. But when these issues persist, when they're accompanied by a feeling of dread or evil, and especially when they occur alongside other signs we're discussing, it might be time to consider that something more is going on. Recognizing these sleep disturbances as a potential sign of an evil spirit's influence is crucial. It's like realizing that the storm keeping you awake isn't just bad weather, but something deliberately trying to disturb your peace. Once you understand this, you can start to take steps to protect your sleep and reclaim this important time of rest and renewal. So, if you find yourself plagued by persistent nightmares, if you're having ongoing trouble sleeping, or if you feel a sense of dread around bedtime, take a moment to reflect. Is this just normal sleep trouble, or could it be something more? Remember, sleep is vital for your physical, mental, and spiritual health. If an evil spirit is disturbing your sleep, it's disrupting your ability to recharge and heal. But recognizing these disturbances is the first step towards reclaiming your nights and restoring your peace. Now let's talk about the fourth sign that an evil spirit might be trapping your soul: unexplained physical symptoms. Our bodies and spirits are closely connected, and sometimes spiritual problems can show up in very physical ways. When an evil spirit is at work, you might start experiencing health issues that don't seem to have any clear medical cause. Think of your body as a finely tuned instrument. Normally, when something's wrong, there's a logical explanation. You caught a cold, you pulled a muscle, or you're reacting to something you ate. But when an evil spirit is involved, it's like someone is playing that instrument all wrong, creating discordant notes that show up as mysterious aches, pains, and other symptoms. One common unexplained symptom is headaches. Not just your average stress headache, but intense, persistent headaches that don't respond to normal treatments. These headaches might come on suddenly, with no apparent trigger, and they might be accompanied by a feeling of pressure or heaviness in your head. Some people describe it as feeling like there's a dark cloud pressing down on them. Stomach issues are another frequent complaint. You might experience unexplained nausea, stomach pains, or digestive problems. These aren't linked to anything you've eaten or any known health condition. Instead, it's like there's a constant knot in your stomach, a physical manifestation of the spiritual disturbance you're experiencing. Body aches are also common. You might feel random pains that move around your body, never staying in one place long enough for you to figure out what's causing them. Or you might have a persistent pain in a specific area, your back, your chest, your joints, that doesn't have any apparent physical cause. These aches aren't relieved by rest or normal pain medications. Some people experience unexplained fatigue, beyond the general feeling of being drained we talked about earlier. This is a bone-deep exhaustion that doesn't improve with sleep. You might find yourself needing to sit down or lie down frequently, your body feeling unusually heavy and weak. Skin issues can also occur. You might develop rashes or itchy patches that come and go without any apparent cause. Some people report feeling like something is crawling on their skin, even when there's nothing visibly there. Sleep disturbances, which we touched on earlier, can also manifest as physical symptoms. You might experience night sweats, waking up drenched even if your room isn't hot. Or you might have trouble regulating your body temperature, feeling alternately too hot or too cold without any logical reason. The tricky thing about these symptoms is that they often don't show up on medical tests. You might go to doctor after doctor, have test after test, and everything comes back normal. This can be incredibly frustrating and might even make you start to doubt yourself. Are you imagining these symptoms? Are you just being a hypochondriac? But here's the thing. These symptoms are real. Just because they don't have a clear medical cause doesn't mean they're not happening. It's not all in your head. Well, not in the way people usually mean when they say that. These physical manifestations are your body's way of telling you that something is wrong on a spiritual level. It's like your body is sending out an SOS signal, trying to alert you to the spiritual attack you're under. The evil spirit, unable to directly control your physical body, is influencing it indirectly through these unexplained symptoms. It's a way of wearing you down, making you feel weak and vulnerable. Now, it's crucial to emphasize that you should always seek medical advice for persistent physical symptoms. Many serious health conditions can cause unexplained symptoms, and these need to be ruled out. But if you've been to doctors, had tests done, and everything comes back normal, yet you're still experiencing these issues, it might be time to consider that something spiritual could be at play. Recognizing these unexplained physical symptoms as a potential sign of an evil spirit's influence is important. It's like realizing that the pain you're feeling isn't just a random occurrence, but a message your body is sending you about a deeper spiritual issue. Once you understand this, you can start to address not just the symptoms, but the root spiritual cause. So, if you find yourself dealing with persistent physical symptoms that don't have any clear medical explanation, take a moment to reflect. Could these be signs of a spiritual issue? Remember, your body and spirit are connected. If an evil spirit is affecting your soul, it can manifest in your physical body. But recognizing these signs is the first step towards addressing the real issue and reclaiming your health and well-being. Let's move on to the fifth sign that an evil spirit might be trapping your soul: feeling isolated or alone. Humans are social creatures. We thrive on connections with others. But when an evil spirit is at work, it often tries to cut you off from the people around you, leaving you feeling alone and unsupported. Imagine your social life as a beautiful garden full of different plants. Each plant represents a relationship in your life: family, friends, co-workers, even casual acquaintances. Normally, this garden is vibrant and thriving. But when an evil spirit is involved, it's like a frost has settled over your garden. The plants start to wither, and you find yourself surrounded by bare branches instead of lush greenery. This isolation often starts subtly. You might find yourself losing interest in social activities you used to enjoy. That weekly game night with friends? Suddenly, it feels like too much effort. Family gatherings that you used to look forward to now feel draining and uncomfortable. You might start making excuses not to go out, preferring to stay home alone. But it's not just about avoiding social situations. Even when you are around other people, you might feel a deep sense of disconnection. It's like there's an invisible wall between you and everyone else. You're in the room, but you don't feel present. Conversations wash over you, and you find it hard to engage or feel any real connection. This feeling of isolation can extend to your closest relationships too. You might start pulling away from your partner, your best friend, or your family members. It's not that you don't love them anymore. It's more like you can't reach them, or they can't reach you. You might find yourself thinking, "No one understands me," or "I'm all alone in this." Some people describe it as feeling like they're watching their life through a window. They can see everything happening, but they can't fully participate or feel connected to it. This can lead to a deep sense of loneliness, even when you're surrounded by people who care about you. The evil spirit might also try to convince you that you're better off alone. You might start to believe that other people are the problem, that they're dragging you down or holding you back. This can lead to pushing people away, further deepening your isolation. In some cases, you might develop social anxiety or paranoia. You might start to feel uncomfortable or even scared in social situations. Every interaction becomes fraught with tension, and you find yourself constantly worrying about what others think of you or if they're secretly against you. This isolation isn't just emotionally painful. It can have real, practical consequences in your life. You might start a struggle at work because you can't connect with your coworkers or clients. Your relationships might suffer as you pull away from loved ones. You might miss out on opportunities because you're too isolated to hear about them or too anxious to pursue them. The cruel irony is that the more isolated you become, the harder it is to break free from the evil spirit's influence. It's like the spirit is building a wall around you, brick by brick, cutting you off from the support and love that could help you fight back. It's important to note that feeling isolated doesn't automatically mean an evil spirit is involved. Many things can cause feelings of loneliness or disconnection, including depression, anxiety, or major life changes. But when this isolation is persistent, when it feels like more than just not feeling social, and especially when it occurs alongside other signs we're discussing, it might be time to consider that something more is going on. Recognizing this isolation for what it is, a potential sign of an evil spirit's influence, is crucial. It's like realizing that the wall separating you from others isn't actually real, even if it feels solid. Once you understand this, you can start to take steps to reconnect with others and rebuild your support network. So, if you find yourself feeling deeply isolated, if you've been pulling away from others or feeling disconnected even when you're with people you care about, take a moment to reflect. Is this just a phase, or could it be something more? Remember, connection with others is a vital part of human life. If an evil spirit is cutting you off from others, it's cutting you off from a crucial source of strength and support. But recognizing this isolation is the first step towards breaking down those walls and reconnecting with the world around you. Now, let's delve into the sixth sign that an evil spirit might be trapping your soul. Unusual bad luck. We all have our share of good and bad days, but when an evil spirit is at work, you might find yourself facing a constant stream of obstacles and setbacks that go beyond normal ups and downs. Think of your life as a journey along a road. Normally, this road has its smooth stretches and its bumpy parts. You might hit a pothole now and then, or have to take a detour, but overall, you're making progress. But when an evil spirit is involved, it's like someone has scattered obstacles all over your path. Everywhere you turn, there's another roadblock, another setback, another thing going wrong. This unusual bad luck can show up in all areas of your life. In your career, you might find that no matter how hard you work, things keep going wrong. Maybe you keep getting passed over for promotions, or projects you're working on repeatedly fall through at the last minute. You might make silly mistakes that you normally wouldn't, or find that your good ideas are consistently overlooked or dismissed. In your personal life, you might experience a string of relationship problems. Friends might suddenly become distant for no apparent reason. Romantic relationships might end abruptly or become filled with constant misunderstandings and conflicts. Even your family relationships might become strained, with arguments erupting over small things that never used to be an issue. Financial problems are another common manifestation of this unusual bad luck. You might find yourself facing unexpected expenses one after another. Your car breaks down, then your refrigerator stops working, then you get hit with a surprise medical bill. Or maybe you make what seems like a sound financial decision, only to have it backfire in ways you couldn't have predicted. Even small, everyday things seem to go wrong more often than they should. You might frequently lose important items, or have technology constantly malfunction around you. You could find yourself missing buses by seconds, or always ending up in the slowest line at the store. Each of these things might be small on its own, but when they keep happening, day after day, it starts to feel like more than just coincidence. The key here is the unusual nature and persistence of this bad luck. It's not just one bad day or one tough week. It's a constant stream of setbacks and obstacles that doesn't let up. You might start to feel like you're cursed, like the universe is conspiring against you. This persistent bad luck can have a serious impact on your mental and emotional state. You might start to feel hopeless, like there's no point in trying because something will always go wrong. You could become paranoid, always waiting for the next bad thing to happen. Or you might develop a victim mentality, feeling like you're powerless against the forces working against you. The evil spirit uses this constant stream of bad luck to wear you down. It's trying to make you feel powerless and hopeless. The more discouraged you become, the harder it is to fight back against its influence. It's like the spirit is trying to convince you that this is just how life is, that you don't deserve better or can't achieve better. It's important to note that everyone goes through tough times, and sometimes bad things do happen in clusters. But when the bad luck is persistent, when it touches every area of your life, and especially when it occurs alongside other signs we're discussing, it might be time to consider that something more is going on. Recognizing this unusual bad luck for what it is, a potential sign of an evil spirit's influence, is crucial. It's like realizing that the obstacles in your path aren't just random occurrences, but deliberate roadblocks set up by a malevolent force. Once you understand this, you can start to see these setbacks not as proof of your own failings, but as challenges to overcome in your spiritual battle. So, if you find yourself facing a constant stream of setbacks and obstacles, if it feels like unusual bad luck is following you everywhere you go, take a moment to reflect. Is this just a run of bad luck, or could it be something more? Remember, while we all face challenges in life, persistent, unusual bad luck could be a sign of spiritual interference. But recognizing this sign is the first step towards changing your luck and reclaiming control over your life's journey. Let's explore the seventh and final sign that an evil spirit might be trapping your soul: strong negative reactions to spiritual things. This sign is particularly telling because it directly relates to the spiritual realm, where these evil forces operate. Imagine your spiritual life as a radio. Normally, you can tune into different stations. Some might resonate with you more than others, but you're generally open to exploring various spiritual ideas and practices. But when an evil spirit is involved, it's like there's static interfering with certain frequencies. Anything positive or spiritually uplifting becomes difficult or even painful to tune into. This sign often manifests as an intense, almost visceral negative reaction to anything related to spirituality, religion, or higher powers. You might find yourself feeling inexplicably angry at the mention of God or any spiritual concepts. It's not just disagreement or disbelief. It's a strong, emotional response that seems to come from deep within you. For example, you might feel a sudden urge to leave or a sense of discomfort when you pass by a church, temple, or other religious building. The sight of religious symbols like crosses or prayer beads might make you feel uneasy or even nauseous. You could find yourself avoiding spiritual conversations or feeling irritated when others talk about their faith. Prayer or meditation, which are meant to bring peace and connection, might instead fill you with anxiety or restlessness. You might find it hard to sit still or focus during these practices, or you might experience a flood of negative thoughts when you try to engage in them. Some people report physical symptoms when they encounter spiritual things. You might get headaches when you try to read spiritual texts, or feel a heaviness in your chest when someone prays for you. In extreme cases, some individuals even describe feeling a burning sensation when they touch holy water or blessed objects. This aversion isn't limited to traditional religious practices. You might find yourself reacting negatively to anything that promotes positivity, love, or light. Self-help books, motivational speeches, or even uplifting music might trigger feelings of anger or disgust. It's as if anything that could potentially lift your spirits or connect you to a higher power becomes intolerable. The evil spirit might also try to rationalize these reactions. You might find yourself thinking things like, religion is just a crutch for weak people, or spirituality is all nonsense. While it's perfectly normal to have doubts or disagreements about spiritual matters, when these thoughts are accompanied by intense negative emotions and occur alongside other signs we've discussed, it could be a sign of something more. This aversion to spiritual things can have a significant impact on your life. It might cause conflicts with religious family members or friends. You could find yourself isolating from communities or support systems that have a spiritual component. This sign can be particularly distressing for individuals who previously had a strong faith or spiritual practice, as they might feel like they're losing an important part of themselves. The evil spirit uses this aversion to keep you away from things that could potentially help you break free from its influence. It's like the spirit is trying to build a barrier between you and any source of spiritual strength or guidance. The more you avoid these positive spiritual influences, the stronger its hold on you becomes. It's important to note that not everyone is religious or spiritual, and that's okay. Having doubts or being skeptical about spiritual matters doesn't automatically mean an evil spirit is involved. But when you experience strong, seemingly irrational negative reactions to spiritual things, especially if you used to be open to them, and when this occurs alongside other signs we've discussed, it might be time to consider that something more is going on. Recognizing these strong negative reactions for what they are, a potential sign of an evil spirit's influence, is crucial. It's like realizing that the static interfering with your spiritual radio isn't just random noise, but a deliberate attempt to keep you from tuning into positive frequencies. Once you understand this, you can start to question these reactions and begin to open yourself up to positive spiritual influences again. So, if you find yourself having unusually strong negative reactions to spiritual things, if you feel an unexplained aversion to anything related to faith, spirituality, or higher powers, take a moment to reflect. Is this just a change in your beliefs, or could it be something more? Remember, while it's normal to question and explore different spiritual ideas, an intense, seemingly irrational aversion to all things spiritual could be a sign of negative spiritual interference. But recognizing this sign is the first step towards reclaiming your spiritual freedom and opening yourself up to positive influences once again. Now that we've explored the 7 signs that an evil spirit might be trapping your soul, you might be wondering, what do I do now? First of all, take a deep breath. Recognizing these signs is a huge step forward. It means you're aware, and awareness is the first step towards freedom. If you've noticed several of these signs in your life, it's important not to panic. Remember, identifying the problem is half the battle. You're not powerless in this situation. There are steps you can take to start breaking free from this negative influence. One of the first things you can do is to seek help. This could mean talking to a spiritual leader you trust, a priest, rabbi, imam, or other religious figure. Many of these individuals have experience dealing with spiritual issues and can offer guidance and support. If you're not religious, you might consider talking to a counselor or therapist who is open to spiritual perspectives. They can help you work through the emotional and psychological impacts of what you've been experiencing. Prayer can be a powerful tool, even if you're not particularly religious. It's a way of connecting with a higher power and asking for protection and guidance. You don't need fancy words or rituals. Simply speaking from your heart and asking for help can be incredibly powerful. Cleansing rituals can also be helpful. This might involve smudging your home with sage, using blessed water or salt, or reciting prayers or affirmations in each room of your house. The specific ritual isn't as important as the intention behind it. You're reclaiming your space and declaring that negative entities are not welcome. Surrounding yourself with positive people can make a big difference. Remember how we talked about isolation being one of the signs? Breaking that isolation is crucial. Reach out to friends and family members who uplift you. Their positive energy can help counteract the negative influence you've been under. Taking care of your physical health is also important. Eat well, exercise, and try to get enough sleep. A healthy body can help support a strong spirit. Plus, taking positive actions for your health can help you feel more in control of your life. Engaging in activities that bring you joy and peace can be very healing. This might be spending time in nature, creating art, listening to uplifting music, or practicing yoga. These activities can help raise your vibration and make you less susceptible to negative influences. It's also important to be patient with yourself. Breaking free from an evil spirit's influence is a process, not an overnight fix. You might have good days and bad days. That's okay. The important thing is to keep moving forward, even if it's just small steps. Remember, you're stronger than you think. The very fact that you're here, learning about these signs and looking for ways to break free, shows that there's a powerful light within you. That light might feel dim right now, but it's still there, and it can grow stronger. We've taken a deep dive into the 7 signs that an evil spirit might be trapping your soul. From constant negative thoughts and feeling drained all the time, to nightmares, unexplained physical symptoms, feeling isolated, unusual bad luck, and strong negative reactions to spiritual things. These signs can be scary and overwhelming when you're experiencing them. But here's the most important thing to remember. Recognizing these signs is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of your journey towards freedom and healing. By identifying these signs, you've already taken the first step towards breaking free from the evil spirit's influence. It's crucial to understand that experiencing these signs doesn't mean you're weak or that there's something inherently wrong with you. Evil spirits often target people who are going through vulnerable periods in their lives or who are particularly sensitive to spiritual energies. This isn't your fault, but it is something you can address. As we discussed in the What to Do Next section, there are many steps you can take to start reclaiming your life and your soul. Seeking help, engaging in prayer or spiritual practices, cleansing your space, Surrounding yourself with positive people, taking care of your physical health, and engaging in joyful activities are all powerful tools in your spiritual arsenal. Remember, this is your life and your soul. You have the right and the power to protect them. The evil spirit might have gained a foothold, but it doesn't have to keep its grip on you. You are stronger than any negative force, even if you don't feel that way right now. It's also important to be gentle with yourself during this process. Healing and breaking free from negative spiritual influences takes time. There might be setbacks along the way, but don't let them discourage you. Each step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. Lastly, know that you're not alone in this struggle. Many people have faced similar challenges and have come out stronger on the other side. Your experience, though difficult, can ultimately lead to profound personal and spiritual growth. By educating yourself about these signs and taking action, you're already on the path to reclaiming your soul and your life. Trust in your inner strength, seek support when you need it, and keep moving forward. Your journey towards freedom and spiritual well-being has already begun, and a brighter, more empowered future awaits you.